we hang out with people that are from 26 to 75, and everything mixes. So that's a big surprise.
It's sometimes a little bit difficult because this is not where we thought we would be, you know, at this age.
I'd rather she's here with us and, you know, we take care of her as best as we can and do what we can for her.
You definitely have to get over things very quickly and have like an open relationship with the ones you love.
There's never a feeling of loneliness.
Walter, where's yours?
Multi-generational living is the norm in many cultures, but there's another reason likely driving the trend in San Diego.
It's just too expensive to be here.
Ricardo Flores is the director of a local nonprofit for affordable housing.
And if your family's from San Diego, I mean, yeah, it's, you know, sure, you could pick up and move to Arizona or somewhere else, but this is your network. This is where home is.
He says it's one thing if the home has enough space and privacy for multiple generations, but in many cases, that's not what he sees.
People convert garages, legal or illegal, to be able to house people. You know, as a kid, you don't think much of it, but then as you get older, you're like, wait a minute, that's the garage. You know, that's crazy. They're living in the garage.
Garages, living rooms, multiple people to one bedroom. Flores sees all sorts of living arrangements. He says the lack of affordable housing in San Diego is creating tenement-like living conditions.
I've been in places in City Heights where I've opened the door and I could just tell there were so many people. It was so hot and it just wasn't a pretty picture that I didn't even look beyond, even though my eyes wanted to go like, what the hell's happening here?
He says those kinds of conditions also lead to higher stress and lack of sleep.
It's just not a productive way to live. It's not getting the best out of our people.
He sees lack of housing space as primarily a zoning issue. More than 3/4 of residential housing in San Diego is zoned for single families. But when multi-generational households share enough space, there are tremendous benefits. That's according to Juan Pablo Pardo Guerra, a sociologist with UC San Diego.
And because it creates all these connections, these additional connections with surrounding communities and also with other members of the family, it tends to lead to better outcomes in life than families that are slightly more isolated.
Better life outcomes, he says, like higher rates of college attendance and more social mobility. It allows families to share childcare and finances and build more capital.
Resources we get from having good neighbors, having friends nearby that we can rely on.
In the coming weeks, we'll tell you stories from all ends of the spectrum. People who live together by necessity.
We also could keep an eye on them as they aged and maybe had different needs arise, which inevitably happens.
And by choice.
I just think this is quite a luxury to be able to live like this.
In tight quarters.
It has to be a lot of patience, and it's going to be hard, but the focus is, you know, the parent.
And on sprawling properties.
Well, we do live on 12 acres, so there is a lot of space, luckily.
With their cultural norms?
I think it's maybe just the way we grew up, like whether it would be my parents or her mom, you know, when it came time to take care of a family member. I think we were just all raised to not put somebody in a home, to just take care of them as long as you can.
And against them.
Where our parents lived far away from where we lived, and so that seemed to be the norm, and now we're all on top of each other here.
But they all have one thing in common. They're making it work.
It's working out, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's fun, it feels good in your heart to be close to your relatives.
This series will explore how. Katie Hyson, KPBS News.